for 5 minutes of questioning. I have a map that I want to hopefully put up if our technology works here. But this is it. It's not good news. I mean, since this administration took power, we've lost to our adversaries. Brazil, October 2022. Colombia, May 2022. Chile, December 2021. Honduras, November 2021. And if you look at the map, there aren't many friends down there. Got Ecuador, Paraguay, Uruguay, and now with the recent election in Argentina. We need moral clarity and authority in our hemisphere. When you lose that, you lose to your foreign adversaries, like China, particularly. Illegal immigration gets worse, not better. Fentanyls are coming into this country. It's worse, not better. China's malign influence gets worse, not better. Cartels and their operations have gotten worse, not better. And it's all tied together. Our adversaries are all working against us. We don't choose them, they choose us. And we have this debate on Ukraine, but now we have it in our own backyard, in our hemisphere. More countries recognize China than Taiwan in our hemisphere, and the Belt and Road projects keep coming and expanding. I think we need a new doctrine for our hemisphere, one that protects our interests, combats our enemies, and promotes shared prosperity between us and our allies. And I'm not saying this to score political points. I just want to know, what is the plan? That's reality. What is our plan to address these threats in our own backyard? Mr. Secretary Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We work with countries across the political spectrum as long as they respect democracy, the right of voters to choose their own governments. The characterization that you make on some of the governments, I would disagree with respectfully. In Chile, President Boric has repeatedly condemned human rights violations and the lack of democracy in Venezuela, and continues to speak out boldly against the repression in Nicaragua. Peru, President Boluarte and her government have been very supportive of our efforts to bring greater democracy to Venezuela, to address the challenges in Nicaragua. They have raised deep concerns about the presence of Chinese investments in infrastructure, and I think we'll probably talk about that
like
some
the
more
Panama
today.
Canal is a good example. I mean, Roosevelt created it, and then Jimmy Carter gave it back, and now you have two Chinese ports on both sides of the Panama Canal.
Panama's a strong U.S. ally.
And they are, and that's good, right?
We look forward to an excellent relationship with incoming President Jose Raul Molino, and we think he will be an excellent partner, and he's already stressed in his conversations with our embassy his commitment to working with us.
Mr. Meeks and I will be having a delegation to Latin America, and I look forward to working with you before we do that. Ambassador Robinson, 2 points. I was in Mexico with the Secretary of the Navy. We passed this year, there is new screening that can detect fentanyls and precursors, technology. And I talked to the Secretary of the Navy down in Mexico. They're very interested in getting this technology deployed, especially to the two ports on the Pacific side, where all the precursors are coming in from China. Can you give me an update on that?
Thank you for that question. We are working regularly with our Mexican counterparts, particularly the Navy, at the port of Manzanillo, and I can't remember the name of the other port. We regularly have contact with them. We regularly review the type of equipment and training they need, including canines, which have been incredibly
And that's great. I
useful.
brought up canines with them. They said they would need like thousands of canines to do this. The technology is now available, and I think we need to get it to them, right?
Well, absolutely. What I would say though is, unlike some of our competitors, we can't direct American companies to go to point X or point Y. They're going to go where they can make money. We can certainly expose them to our partners in Mexico and allow them to have conversations with the government.
Well, I
of
talked to the
Mexico.
Secretary of the Navy in Mexico, and they're very interested. I think if this is a matter of cost, they certainly would, I think, would want to buy it, but I think we could also assist them
Absolutely.
in that effort. And I would appreciate if you could update me on this, because our appropriations process is going forward. I think that would be a really wise investment.
Absolutely.
If we're going to protect our children from the scourge of fentanyls. Lastly, Ambassador Robinson, I talked to the AMLO, President of Mexico, and, there's a choke point, and it's between, Guatemala and Mexico. There's also the Darien Gap. It would make a lot of sense to me, and I've been doing this for a long time, this border stuff. I think Remain in Mexico is working, but your administration did away with that. But, I think there's interest on Mexico's part. I think Panama has an interest in the Darien Gap to close this choke point off, where you're not talking about 2,000 miles of border. You're talking about a very finite number of miles that we could secure to stop this illegal immigration that's happening. And then that sends a message of deterrence that the cartels understand. I mean, do you have any thoughts on those two ideas?
Absolutely, and I completely agree with you. In fact, we are working very closely on both sides of the Darien with Colombia and Panama, both getting them to work together and allowing us to assist them in monitoring the area, getting their forces to the area. Our INL airframes are assisting in getting their officers to the area. We would welcome Mexican support in this effort. I think you're absolutely right that making sure that we're working with all of our partners in the region closely, and we are, can go a long way towards addressing this issue.
I look forward to working with you. And I'm going to talk to our appropriators, because we talk a lot about border security around here. But, when you got two obvious sort of choke points from a geographical standpoint, to me, it's just common sense.
I would add Guatemala as well
And Guatemala.
in that group.
Guatemala and Mexico and the Darien Gap. I think those two combined would make a whole lot of sense. And I think that would be bipartisan, But I'm not going to speak for Mr. Meeks.